It was like getting to go to Oz and pull back the curtain and see the guy pulling the levers, making all the smoke and fire.
Welcome to this episode of Chattin with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Randy Couture. How was it to transition into acting? What was it like to be in front of the cameras after being in the ring?
Well, I think being involved in the three of the first four seasons of The Ultimate Fighter actually was a big leg up for me. You're wearing a microphone, you forget you're wearing it. You're standing in front of a camera, teaching, doing the things you're already good at, and why you're in that coaching position in the first place. So you know the content, you know the sport inside and out. So that's an easy thing to do, and you get used to being in front of a camera and being filmed like that. So I think that actually helped me. You forget the camera's there, sometimes to your own detriment. You say and do things in front of that camera that you probably shouldn't have said or done in the reality TV genre. So I was, applied that wrestler's mindset, that military mindset to that problem as well. I was going to be first on set, diligent, know my lines, be ready to go, be prepared. Be the first with the most, basically, and I think you'll be successful and find your way looking through those eyes every single time, and that's exactly what I did with acting as well. My first acting gig was in the early 2000s in a feature film called Cradle to the Grave.
I
And
remember.
me, Chuck, and Tito all got the chance to play a character, a fighter in that film, in the underground fight scenes, and it was an eye opener being on a set for the first time. Seeing the process for the actors, the stuntmen, the whole thing was really intriguing, really interesting. It was like getting to go to Oz and pull back the curtain and see the guy pulling the levers, making all the smoke and fire. It was really, really intriguing and interesting. I immediately went out and started taking some acting classes. Eventually, I managed to get an agent at Gersh with Brett Nornsberg and the Gersh agency. I found an acting coach. Barry Primus has been my acting coach for over 10 years and kind of helped me ferret out how this whole thing works and this process for playing a character in a make-believe scenario and making it as truthful and as honest as you can make it, because that's basically what you're doing as an actor.
Yeah. So before that, you did Pros versus Joes. Do you remember doing this?
Yeah, that was a blast.
So
I had
you
a
guys
lot of
were
fun doing that.
fighting regular guys, right?
Yeah, they bring in a bunch of pro athletes to compete, against regular guys that maybe played college ball but never really made it to that next level, but had aspirations. We're all very good athletes, just never really made it to that pro level, to the pro ranks. So that was a very, very fun show. I met a lot, Michael Irvin, Bruce Smith. I mean, just a bunch of
Jose
Kevin,
Canseco was on that one, right?
Jose Canseco. I mean, just a bunch of amazing athletes from other sports, and then competing against the Joes. Certainly they got their attention when they threw up a real cage and made those guys walk into a real cage with me to see who was going to get submitted the least.
Did guys just tap out right away? Did guys say, "No, I'm not doing this"?
No, they put up a good fight. All of them, put up a pretty good fight.
I remember watching that.
I think the one guy had some combative experience from the Army, and he was the one that ended up winning that challenge. I think he only got submitted 4 times in the 5 minutes that we rolled. The other guys were 6 and 7 times, I think, they got submitted in that period. So, but it was a blast. I had a lot of fun doing it. I hadn't had football pads on since I was in high school in 1981. So to get to put on football pads and do a goal line stance with Bruce Smith, I mean, it was incredible. It was a really, really cool experience. Watching Jose Canseco crush baseballs out of a baseball stadium.
Yeah, that was pretty incredible.
On down the line, Kevin Willis, playing ball and outballing all those guys. I mean, there was just a lot of really cool stuff we got to do.
Yeah, I mean, people don't get to do that type of stuff in their lifetime,
I felt honored to be able to get to do that, and it was a fun experience.
So now you went into announcing, right? You were an announcer for a while?
Yeah, I started commentating a little bit for the UFC back when I originally retired. And then when I retired again in 2011, they brought me back on as a commentator for a couple of their shows during the year, some of their bigger pay-per-views on Fox. And then eventually I got hired by Spike TV to do some scripted and unscripted television stuff with Spike, and left my commentating job with the UFC to pursue that endeavor and that opportunity. That again threw me on the outs, with Dana White, called me a traitor and a bunch of other stuff because I signed a contract with Spike TV. Now, obviously, Spike TV was where the UFC found their home and was the only network that would put us on TV with the first few seasons of The Ultimate Fighter. So when UFC left and went to Fox, there was a huge void in programming on Spike TV, which is now Paramount, and they were looking to fill that void. So, they bought Bellator, revamped Bellator, made that their own fight show. They started Fight Master. We did Gym Rescue. We did a couple of other shows, all under that 2-year contract that I signed with Spike TV to do that stuff.
Yeah, 2013, January
and
2013, right?
That was a fun experience, and I learned a lot about the industry, a lot about producing, a lot of things through that. Even running a gym, being involved in 3 episodes of Gym Rescue, which was a lot of fun and an eye-opening experience as well. And then I retired from fighting, obviously, in 2011, and could just focus on acting, and then ended up getting picked up by the World Series of Fighting in their rebranding year, and in the year they became the Professional Fighters League, and they signed me as a commentator, and I'm still commentating for them as we speak. We just had our finals 2 weekends ago in Washington, D.C., and it was amazing.
That's awesome. Congratulations on all your success, man. You've had an incredible career, and a lot of people don't get to do the things that you've done. You acted with Steven Seagal and all these people, like the History Channel. I've seen you on Scorpion King, like all these movies, and it's been incredible to watch you throughout the years. And now I get to interview you. I feel like I made it, man. I feel like I'm in the ring with the belt.
Wow, I appreciate that, man. It's been a hell of a journey, that's for sure. So many things have unfolded that I could have never imagined. Being a professional fighter, a professional athlete, is an amazing thing in our society, and something I felt very blessed to be able to have done that for 14 years and take care of my family the way that the sport has.
So there's probably a guy out there watching this show right now that wants to be in the situation that you've been in your past, right? What's the advice that you have for the guy out there that wants to be a UFC fighter?
Find your passion, whatever that passion is, and if that's fighting, then get about finding that gym, finding that team, that group of guys that you're going to sweat and bleed with. They're going to push you to the absolute limit, but at the same time, take care of you and make sure that you're doing the right things and staying on track, taking care of your health. This is the only vehicle you're going to get to ride through this entire life and this entire journey with. And fighting, let's be honest, is a tough way to make a living. So you're going to push that as far, the limits to that body as far as you can push it with the right team and the right guys, and get the most out of that. Make the sacrifices wherever you need to make those sacrifices to be successful at that. But set those goals, draw that map, find that team. As much as this is an individual combative sport, you're only as good as the guys you're training with, rubbing elbows with on a regular basis. So you better find a good team of guys that are going to take care of you and help you achieve those goals. That's where it's at.
That's a great answer. So what's one thing about you that people would be surprised to know?
I have a degree in foreign language and literature from Oklahoma State University, where I wrestled for 4 years. It was at that time from 1988 to 1992 in college that I started writing. I started writing prose and poetry and stuff like that, doing some drawing. And I have an artistic side that not a lot of people know about. My daughter is very similar. My daughter's a very good drawer. She writes some poetry and stuff too. My son is the other side of my personality. He's the soft-spoken kind of intellectual. He's very good at math. He's that kind of science side of my personality, and my daughter's kind of the creative, wild side of my personality. It's really interesting to see those two kind of come at life from opposite ends of the perspective. But yeah, I think that's probably something that not a lot of people would know about me.
So, what's your plans for the future?
I'm going to continue to act and enjoying that process. Getting in, we just produced the Demon Pit a couple years ago. Still finishing up getting that distributed. That's kind of the first time I put some of my own skin in the game to develop a script and a project. Got to work with Dean Cain and Gianni Capaldi, and man, just some great actors and actresses in making that movie. Having a blast doing that. It's certainly a lot easier physically on the body than getting punched in the face for a living. I enjoy the commentating. I'm really enjoying part of that group and watching this new company in the sport explode. Take care of the fighters very, very well, paying the fighters great, giving the fighters a voice in how they're regulated, how they're managed through the Athletes Advisory Board, and some of the things that the PFL is doing to change our sport and be successful in our sport. So those are the two things that are occupying my free time. I'm involved, obviously, with the Extreme Couture GI Foundation. It's a veterans organization I started about 16 or 17 years ago to take care of some of our wounded combat veterans. We also run the chapter of MVP, Emerging Vets and Players, out of the gym in Vegas. We're the Nevada chapter for MVP, and you can find that at vetsandplayers.org. For any of you vets out there that are looking to reconnect with the veteran community in your neighborhood or via Zoom, because we do hybrid meetings as well, look at vetsandplayers.org and join us there. If you're struggling as a vet, need some counseling services, have some financial woes, go to xcgif.org. We have a portal there. Give us the information we need, and our 501c3 will help take some of that pressure off of you, help you get a counselor, get through some of the demons, and really kind of help you get back on track and take some of that pressure off while you're in that transition state.
And I'll put a link for all your websites and everything like that in the description below. If people want to check them out, you just click on the link. It'll bring you right to the websites.
Cool, man.
So how do you feel about Dana White these days?
I mean, Dana's Dana. I did my best to try and get along with Dana the years I fought for the company. We had times where we got along great, and other times where we didn't get along at all. And I think I don't really have an issue with Dana. Obviously, I think Dana has an issue with me at this point, and that's really on him. I got no problem with him. He's running the biggest promotion in the sport that I'm passionate about. I have a lot of fighters that fight for him and fight under him. I have no ill feelings towards him at all. It is what it is. I've tried to do the best I could do for my career and keep control of my career. He was trying to run his company the best that he could. It's that simple.
Yeah, like if the tables were turned, what would you do, right?
No, I mean, hard to say, hard to speculate, but
It's all business, I guess.
I think we as fighters need to recognize that we're the commodity, and if we don't come together and create a fighters association and force all these promoters to give us some minimum standards for pay, help us get some retirement set up, help us get some health insurance.
Medical.
All the things that every other professional athlete in our sport enjoys, frankly, is something that we need to come together and work towards as fighters and make sure that we're getting a fair shake, create that transparency in our sport. The fighter, the promoters should have to disclose how much money they're making off of each one of these fights. How are those guys on that card supposed to negotiate their fair value in the marketplace if nobody knows? And I know the numbers. I mean, it's 13 to 15% of that money, the revenue from any one of those.
So it's all over the place.
It's going to the fighters. Show me another sport in our society where only 13 to 15% of that money goes to the athletes that were actually in those fights, in that competition. That's ridiculous, in my opinion. Again, one of the things I think the PFL is doing a much better job about is paying these fighters better. I mean, we just had 6 new millionaires walk out of that arena 2 weeks ago in Washington, D.C. That's pretty remarkable. So, and they're getting paid along the way through the regular season as they go as well. So, obviously I'm happy to see that happen, to see an organization like that come on. And obviously we just picked up Bellator. So I think there's a lot of buzz between the champions, champions versus champions fight coming up this next year, and Bellator versus Professional Fighters League. That's going to be very, very interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of great matchups there. I'm excited about the next year coming.
Definitely. Me too, man. I appreciate you taking the time. Can you do a quick shout out for me real quick? Just say your name and say, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
What's up, everybody? This is Randy Couture, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Perfect. Thank you, man. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to check out his links, will be in the description of this video. Just click on them, bring you right to the sites. Well,
Awesome,
I appreciate you, man. And I wish you nothing but success in the future. You've been a great inspiration for a lot of people out there. And thank you.
Thanks, Bill. Appreciate
And
you, bud.
if you guys like this video, hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell so you can get my videos every time they drop. And if you don't like these videos, start your own podcast. Peace. Thanks, man.
You bet, man.